We are sorry to the WWE Universe. We are sorry that the COO is a sorry excuse for a leader.
10 social media posts that got wrestlers into serious trouble. Number 1. Val Venis. Val Venis was one of the most popular acts of the Attitude Era, but if you ask anyone about the former WWE Intercontinental Champion now, there won't be many fond memories recited about Val Venis. Val Venis is a Republican, and there's nothing wrong with being a Republican itself, but it does become a problem when political messaging is used to spread hateful rhetoric to a certain person or community. His hatred is towards transgenders and the LGBTQ+ community. Val has received a ton of backlash following his response to Nyla Rose winning the AEW World Women's Championship. His hatred for Rose is nothing new, but he put out a tasteless post that many would consider too far. The former Intercontinental Champion had a meltdown when Rose won the AEW World Women's title, and Venis wrote on Twitter, "When I turn on the mind-numbing boob tube to watch two women wrestle for the championship, I expect to see real women wrestling. Today I identify as a Great Dane, gonna enter the Westminster Dog Show and win the XL Dog title." Venis clarified his statement by saying, "I never claimed Nyla Rose was cheating. It's scripted and could be a heat-seeking storyline when portrayed responsibly. My position was, and still is, that portraying a biological man winning the women's championship is not something to portray as moral, ethical, or logical. When Val Venis is saying it's quite a complex topic that isn't simply black and white, but Venis is spreading hate to anyone who supports the community." That tweet is a part of dozens of comments from Venis trashing Rose about being a transgender woman. He's notably bashed Cody Rhodes, who came to the defense of Nyla Rose on numerous occasions. He also trashed John Cena and The Rock when they showed their support for the LGBTQ+ community. Fact, both John Cena and The Rock sold their souls to the same cartel of communist comrades that stole the brains out of the heads of Cody Rhodes fans. And now the former Intercontinental Champion has yet to back down from his controversial views. He doesn't even care that he'll never be able to work in professional wrestling again. "I'm a retired free agent. I can say what I want, when I want, and how I want. It wouldn't be prudent for leftist mental midgets to hit the unfollow button if they do not wish to be triggered by the truth." And it's safe to say that Venis probably won't be invited back to any anniversary WWE shows anytime soon. Number 2. Austin Aries. 2020 was a difficult year for the entire world. The coronavirus was a massive epidemic that killed millions of people across the globe, so it made sense for the government to try and find a solution that would slow down the spread of the dangerous disease. A new mandate required every citizen to wear masks out in public spaces. It was a rather controversial demand, as there was plenty of people against wearing a mask in public, and Austin Aries was one of them. The former WWE star complained on Twitter about the mandate and made it clear that your health wasn't his responsibility. "I didn't write this, but I literally had this debate last night. If I'm forced to take responsibility for your health by wearing a mask, do I also get to snatch all the shit out of your grocery cart, making you sick and putting you at risk? You know, just for the greater good?" Now, people were furious with Aries' anti-mask comment. His statement triggered plenty of people, and the former TNA World Heavyweight Champion responded by doubling down on his original statement. "Wow, I'm trending number 1 in horoscopes. Amazing how many people I triggered about the idea of personal responsibilities and choices. I'm not even anti-mask. I'm an anti-mandate and pro-personal responsibility and choice. Just wear your mask. It's easy and it shows compassion for the well-being of those around. Just go vegan. It's easy and it shows compassion for the well-being of those around you." Two statements that, while the same, garner much different reactions. Explain to me why. Now, believe it or not, this is the least controversial thing Aries has done in public. Aries has already had massive heat due to the speaking out movement, where he was accused of sexual misconduct by several women. His anti-mask statements was a final nail in the coffin, though. Now, unlike Venis, Aries isn't blacklisted from any promotion entirely, as he still works on the indie shows, but he's struggled to get anything high profile since 2019. It's highly unlikely that Austin Aries will ever get another opportunity in TNA or WWE. Then again, if Tessa Blanchard can get one more shot in TNA, then anything is possible for the former TNA World Heavyweight Champion. As number 3, Tessa Blanchard. Now, of course, we can't have this list and not talk about Tessa Blanchard. The crazy thing about the backlash Tessa received was after a positive statement from the TNA star. During this time, TNA was pushing Tessa Blanchard as their next world champion. Before Tessa was set to face Sami Callihan for the Impact World title at Hard to Kill, the second-gen star tweeted out, "Hey women, try to support one another. Cool things happen." And then numerous stars from different promotions immediately called out Tessa for being a hypocrite. Blanchard was accused of bullying, but the biggest accusation was that Tessa was racist towards a wrestler named La Rosa Negra. Reportedly, Blanchard spit in Negra's face and called her the N-word. We don't know the exact details of how the incident began, but multiple women recall the story of Tessa's racist behavior towards the indie talent. La Rosa Negra herself confirmed to Carlos Toro of Fightful.com that the stories were indeed true. Let me tell you one thing, for whatever Tessa wants to do in her life and her career, good for her. It has no bearing on me, but when someone wants to be respected, they have to respect others. But if you don't respect others and all you want to do is humiliate others and be above everyone and push your family name, which you're quite small in being part of that family. There was a WrestleCade where I talked and she didn't say anything to me, but I spoke with her. I told her I forgive you. To hell with that. I can't live my life holding that grudge. I don't hate her, I just feel poor for her. She needs to grow. Nowadays she denies what she did. Did she grow? Really? Okay, she grew. Me, I will keep growing. I lost a contract, I lost money for my family. She took a lot of opportunities in that year, but now I need to think about what people say on Twitter about her. I don't care right now because if she did something, she needs to accept it. I accepted that she spat in my face, that she humiliated me. She also needs to respect the fact that I made her respect me for better or worse. You're not someone to humiliate people, but you made me grow. Now I feel like I know my worth because I could defend myself and show that she's not above anyone else. It affected my personal life and my finances and me being able to provide for my family. I had to stay in Puerto Rico and grow. I came back and look at where I am now. In 2021, I'm the Mission Pro Wrestling Champion. A lot of wrestlers wrote to me and I want to say thanks to all those wrestlers. At the time I was telling them to shut up about it and forget about it. I accepted it. She spit in my face and disrespected me and I showed her respect. She stays in her lane and I stay in mine. Not much else to talk about. I don't need her apology because it's too late. It's too late and she still denies it. I got my conscience and it's clean. You know what? Kisses to you, Tessa. Tessa denied everything and TNA pushed forward with giving Tessa the Impact World title. But those accusations only confirmed the rumors surrounding their second generation's backstage attitude. Many fans and critics were surprised when WWE didn't hire Blanchard in 2017. Rumors had been swirling for years that she simply wasn't a nice person behind the scenes. And so it was Tessa's backstage attitude that blacklisted her from the sport for several years. After a falling out with Impact in June of 2020, the company fired Blanchard and stripped her of the Impact World Championship. Both AEW and WWE had the opportunity to hire her for 4 years, yet neither promotion would touch the former Impact World Champion. She was essentially blacklisted from all the major promotions. Now Tessa and La Rosa Negra will make amends in 2023. That perhaps opened the door for Impact to rehire the former world champion a year later. Despite making amends with her, Tessa has yet to make any public apology for the accusations levied against her. In fact, she tried to play victim during her interview with Straight Talk Wrestling. But now her career appears to be on the upswing, despite the Tessa is racist chants and the lack of a sincere apology. Tessa would definitely have been in a better spot had she not opened up her mouth about the women supporting each other. Then again, given all of the accusations against the TNA star, it was only a matter of time before the dam exploded. Number 4. Zachary Wentz. In 2022, Zachary Wentz was in the midst of a divorce with Kimberly, a former TNA and NXT star. It was surely a nasty one as Lee started throwing accusations against her ex-husband. First, Lee claimed that Wentz was physically abusive, and she detailed one particular moment where he split her lip. Got wasted and hit me so hard, he split my lip open. He told me I'm a wrestler, so I'm always marked up. I've hid this for a year and even forgave him, but I can't hide it anymore, Lee wrote in this post along with pictures showing visible facial injuries. I've hid this for a year and even forgave him, but I can't hide it anymore. There was no telling on whether this was true or not. There was no police report, nor was Wentz ever arrested. But this is an allegation that has gotten past WWE stars fired. Reportedly, Lee didn't exactly have a good reputation backstage and was known to be a liar. There's no confirmation if those reports are true, but Wentz wasn't fired for the allegations. However, Lee didn't give up on trying to ruin her ex-husband's reputation, so she released a photo of Zachary Wentz doing the Nazi salute with him having the infamous Hitler stash. That's when WWE gave Wentz his release papers. Luckily for Wentz, the wrestling community was mostly on his side, as the photo seemed rather innocent despite the meaning behind it. Plus, it's widely believed that no one believed the abuse allegations. Wentz returned to Impact in 2023 and was able to come back to NXT through the TNA partnership in 2024. Whilst this is a murky subject since we don't have the full details on what really happened between Wentz and Lee, the former was able to recover from one of the darkest periods of his life. Number 5. Zara Schreiber. Zara Schreiber was fired in 2012 for Instagram posts featuring a swastika. Zara wasn't particularly a prominent name in NXT, and the former WWE star was actually a valet for Solomon Crowe. But before this discovery, she made the news due to an accidental leak of her and her boyfriend at the time, Seth Rollins. When Zara was asked about the photo, she double-played the seriousness of the swastika by claiming that she's just a fan of history. I like history. It's really not anyone's business anyway. I can post whatever photos I want. If you don't like them, then my feelings won't be hurt if you unfollow. Thanks, I'm in love with the photo of Maria Magdalena. There's lots of cool photos on eBay. It's not a big deal. I can hang whatever photos I want in my room or my Instagram. Just like she can post all over her network sites how she thinks women who are pro-life are idiots. We all have our own opinions and lifestyles. I don't comment on hers, so I expect the same. The swastika means prosperity and luck. It was around way before Hitler turned it into an icon. Take it how you want, I could care less. This is too funny. Believed what way? One of my best friends back home is black and another is married to a black man. I dislike people for their actions, not their race. If it happens to be a black, Asian or white person, so be it. Mind your business. I'm not all on your shit for things you say that I have no respect for. I don't really give a shit what it means to other people, Brendan. I said that referring to her saying that the swastika symbol deserves to be spat on. It has other meanings also. I'll take interest in anything I want. If you look next to it, is a photo of an actress who refused Nazism and was awarded the right to America. I'll put whatever I want on the wall. Get over it. Me too, especially over something stupid. People need to lighten up and get the sticks out of their ass. Azara eventually deleted the photos, but the damage was already done. She was fired from WWE and she would make another statement and apologize for the anti-Semitic photos. It was a complete 180 from her previous post, but it's likely that the reality of no longer being a WWE star finally hit her. The former WWE star only had one match on the indie scene and she completely vanished from pro wrestling. Number 6. Jay Briscoe. And there was one tweet that got the Briscoe brothers blacklisted from major promotions. Jay and Mark Briscoe will go down as one of the best tag teams of this generation. The two were the heart and soul of Ring of Honor, and both men had all the tools to be a WWE or AEW star. So it wasn't a surprise that Jay and Mark were in talks to make the jump over to WWE in 2013. However, that all changed when Jay tweeted a response to the Delaware Senate passing a bill that allowed same-sex couples to get married. His statement was, "The Delaware Senate passed a bill yesterday that allows same-sex couples to get married. If that makes you happy, then congratulations. Try and teach my kids that there's nothing wrong with that, and I'll effing shoot you." Now, as you can imagine, Jay got mountains of heat for this statement, and he would eventually apologize for making the tweet, but the damage was already done. Mark Briscoe revealed on Busted Open Radio that WWE actually put their offer on the back burner following the controversial statement. Tony Khan even revealed that the Warner Brothers Discovery did not want the Briscoe brothers on their television. He confirmed that part of the reason was due to the homophobic tweet he sent out in 2013. Khan had to fight hard for that special Jay Briscoe tribute because there was so much heat on what Jay said. Jay apologized again in 2022 and admitted on the Battleground podcast that it was one of the dumbest things he'd ever said.
I put out a stupid tweet 9 years ago, most dumbest, immature, obnoxious shit I've ever done. I don't want anybody from any walk of life to feel like they can't, cheer for the Briscoes. Because I promise we love everybody. We love everybody and we just want to go out there and be pro wrestlers, man. Give the best match that we can. Again, I said some dumb shit a long time ago. I apologize for it, and I'll apologize for it again. But I feel like now there's people who kind of look at us like we can't cheer for them because they hate a certain group of people. Now, we don't hate nobody, man. We love everybody, I promise y'all. We're just the most God-fearing country boys. I thought I was taking a stand for the Lord back in the day.
People make mistakes. Unfortunately for Jay, he tweeted out a mistake that prevented him and Mark from getting a chance to shine in WWE. Thankfully, Mark Briscoe is now being given an opportunity to showcase his skills in AEW. It's just a shame that it came at the expense of his brother passing away. Number 7. Marty Jannetty. Marty Jannetty is one of the biggest what-ifs in pro wrestling. Him and Shawn Michaels were touted as one of the best tag teams on the planet during the 80s and 90s, and he could have been one of the biggest single stars after Shawn turned on him during the infamous barbershop segment. However, in 2020, Jannetty revealed a very dark secret that could explain his substance abuse. Jannetty put out a random Facebook post where he claimed that he made a man disappear at the age of 13. Jannetty alleged that a man attempted to sexually assault him behind a bowling alley in his hometown of Columbus, Georgia. He stated that he fought back and, made the man disappear. The story gave tons of traction, and the Columbus Police Department launched an investigation on Jannetty's claims. Once Jannetty realized that he confessed to murder, then he retracted his story and claimed that it was just the beginning of a storyline. Why Jannetty was creating a wrestling story about him murdering a rapist remains a mystery, but the police didn't particularly buy Jannetty's retraction. At this moment, there's been no updates on the story, no one has been arrested, nor has there been any body found in regards to Marty's claim. On the bright side, Marty Jannetty may have created the most layered and complex character in pro wrestling history. Maybe someday he'll finally finish that story. Number 8. Jim Cornette. Controversy in Jim Cornette are like peanut butter and jelly. Cornette is often deemed one of the best pro wrestling managers of all time, but that gets overshadowed with each story that comes out about Cornette. Cornette is infamous for his podcast, where he doesn't hold back on his opinions. Cornette has gotten heat because of the homophobic comments he made against Sonic Kiss in 2019, the constant trashing on AEW, or even his controversial racist statement that he made on NWA that forced him to resign. However, his most notable was his back-and-forth spat with Jordynne Grace back in 2019. This all started when Grace put out a statement where she felt that wrestling should be considered a performance art, not a sport. That tweet certainly ruffled a lot of feathers, and Cornette chimed in by calling the NXT star a butterface. Now, Cornette has probably said much worse, but the sexist comment did get a significant amount of heat. But that comment was just the start of his feud against Grace, because a few years later, Cornette would be blatantly call her a fat ass. That was in response to Jordynne Grace questioning whether Chris Benoit could hang with the modern wrestlers. It was an odd tweet that dismissed Benoit's work because of what he did in his personal life, and Jim Cornette made sure she wouldn't get away with it.
Now that I hear all those comments, I'm even more pissed off than I was. But look, number one, fat ass. Fat ass. Now I'm fat shaming you, fat ass. You never met Chris Benoit, you never met Nancy, and you never met Daniel. So why you decide that your opinion in this matter makes a fuck to anybody, I have no fucking earthly clue. Maybe it's because you're allegedly in the wrestling business. Well, that's like some baseball player on the New York Mets today saying that, well, that goddamn Ty Cobb, he may have been a decent baseball player, but fuck him. Jordynne Grace criticizing Chris Benoit's wrestling ability is like a second-string arena football player saying O.J. Simpson couldn't hang with him.
At this point, it's doubtful that Jim Cornette would ever apologize to Jordynne Grace, but in the world of pro wrestling, anything can happen. Number 9, Braun Strowman. Now, Braun Strowman hasn't confessed to murder or called anyone a fat ass. He looked down on the indie scene. As we mentioned back in Austin Aries' entry, the world was literally shut down because of the coronavirus in 2020. Unless wrestlers worked in AEW or WWE, most of the indie promotions had to shut down, and plenty of performers were struggling financially during this time. Evil Uno put out a tweet asking fans to support independent wrestling promotions and performers because they were hit hard by the coronavirus. For some strange reason, Strowman felt the need to respond by criticizing Uno for asking fans to pay wrestlers' bills and stated that if they couldn't afford to pay their bills, then they should change their profession. It was an ignorant and dismissive comment that Strowman received flack for. Ironically, Strowman ended up being fired from WWE a couple of months later, but despite him unnecessarily criticizing the independent wrestlers, the former Universal Champion said during an interview that he still believes in the comments he made. Strowman did admit that his tweet aged like milk, but his comments were taken out of context. Braun Strowman is a WWE guy through and through. He didn't have to struggle on the independent scene to get a contract. His height was a big reason the company offered him a job in the first place. The former WWE star didn't understand how difficult it was to survive outside the WWE bubble. While there's good intention behind Strowman's words, his statement was misguided and heartless. At number 10, Logan Paul. Now, in the wake of Algerian Olympic boxer Imani Khalif's victory over Italy's Angela Carini in the Paris 2024 Olympics, WWE star Logan Paul posted a now deleted comment on X that ignited backlash. He described the bout as a purest form of evil unfolding right before our eyes. A man was allowed to beat up a woman on a global stage. This delusion must end. However, the post got significant backlash by many, pointing out that Khalif is not transgender and is identified as female at birth. Paul then quickly removed the post, and he posted another message acknowledging that he may have been guilty of spreading misinformation, though he did stop short of a sincere apology. He added that while Khalif had been previously disqualified for failing a gender test and was alleged to have XY chromosomes, some sources say that Imani Khalif was born a biological woman. Despite the acknowledgement of spreading misinformation and falsehoods, he reaffirmed his stance that biological men should not compete against biological women in any sport. Now, even though there was backlash at Paul for his statement, there was no repercussions from WWE, and they allowed him to continue like nothing ever happened. But there you have it, folks, 10 social media posts that got wrestlers in serious trouble. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.